Everybody, this is Harmony with Harmony Stitches and welcome to my channel. Here we talk about my crafting journey, which usually revolves around cross stitch with some knitting and crochet thrown in. Lately it's been a lot of cross stitch and not a lot of knitting or crochet. I don't even know when the last time I crocheted was, but anywho. Thank you everyone that has been hanging out with me the last couple of videos. I appreciate your patience as we transition to bi-monthly instead of weekly videos. This is really helping me a lot, especially since the new way that I'm doing my projects this year. I wouldn't really have anything to show you every week anyway. So this 2-week system is really helping me, and I hope that you're enjoying it too. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedules to watch my video when I know that you could be watching anyone's video. I really do appreciate it, and it means a lot. If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and click that subscribe and notification bell, so that way every time I post a video, you won't miss it. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about what I worked on the last 2 weeks. I think when I left you last time, I was working on, let's see, Sweet to the Soul by Joyful Expressions. I just dropped all of my things on the floor. And I said I was going to try to get this pattern done by this video, and I did. So let me show you. It is complete. I am guesstimating that I put about 4,386 stitches, not counting the back stitching. The back stitching I have are like to the, and then the bee, like little paths, and then around the bees. So that was a lot of back stitching there, but then also the outlining of all these little hexagons. I thought it was going to take me days and days and days to do the hexagons, and it took me roughly 3 hours to get it all done. You just got in such a rhythm with it that it just didn't take any time at all. I ended up having a snow day on Wednesday and Thursday, so I finished this up on Wednesday. I was super excited about that. So that is ready to be framed and to go into my kitchen. I don't know when I'll get to it, but I hopefully will get to it soon. Okay, that is something else. Just a minute, I'm gonna get this stuff. Okay. So then the next project that I had to work on for February was Lady of the Flag by Mirabilia. And this I am using, I started this on January 9th of 2022. This is for my daughter. And last year and this year I'm using it as the main focus stitch for the Travel the USA Challenge in the Michigan Cross Stitch Group. That was a lot of words. So my daughter wanted her dress to be the teal conversion, to make it look like the Statue of Liberty personified. So I will show you where I got. This month we were traveling to Atlanta, Georgia. And for me, that was 880 stitches. And so I focused from here over. Well, I did a little bit here too, to bring it up to this point. And this is where her one elbow will sit. And then, so I finished this red spot, and then I was just bringing all of the stitches up to her arm. So then this is where her other elbow will sit right here, the one that's holding the torch. So I needed to get 880. I got 883, and I am super excited about the progress on this because I am getting closer and closer every single month. I am stitching this on 30 count linen called We the People from the Primitive Hare. Any local needle workshop can go ahead and order this fabric for you. The Primitive Hare, I believe, is in Italy, so it would be in everyone's best interest really to order through your local needle workshop, because if they carry her items, then they can order a bulk, and it's better on shipping that way, just as a hint. Okay, so that's Lady of the Flag. So then when I was done with those 2 pieces, I really was in that spot where I don't know what I'm going to pick up next. I don't know what I want to work on. I want something easy. So again, I picked up Winter Tranquility, and I'll put a picture here. And this was one of my WIPGO draws for this month. And if you're new with me, I am doing new starts WIPGO. I'm not doing WIPs, I'm doing new starts. So I did start this on February 1st. And my goal for all of them is to put in 500 stitches. So I picked this up another time in the previous 2 weeks. So I got more than the 500 stitches. And then I picked it up again. And I'm going to keep working on this till the end of the month, through the end of February. And right now I think I have 3,000 stitches in it. I am 37%, I think, complete. Just on the other side of this bunny's arm here, this is going to be a bunny. I'm halfway done with him. Is a big tree, the big tree. So I'm getting close to being done with the snow-covered lawn. And that was my goal, kind of, is like, if I can get this part done, then the rest of it is going to be a breeze. So I didn't even have to look at the pattern, really. I just grabbed a couple of strands of white, threaded a couple needles, and away I went. And I was able to get a lot done because, like I said, I had snow day on Wednesday, Thursday. And since I finished Sweet to the Soul on Wednesday, I stitched on this all day on Thursday. Well, not all day on Thursday, because I did do Lady of the Flag. I broke it up into pieces, pieces, so that way I wouldn't get overwhelmed, because Lady of the Flag is pretty difficult, especially in the area that I'm at. It's hard to get that bulk of stitches done, like 800 stitches done, when you're like, oh, I've got 7 stitches here, and I've got 13 stitches here, and oh, here's another 10 stitches. And if you're color changing all the time, because I think there's 500 to 504, so that's 5 colors and 3815. There's 6 different teals that you're using in the dress. So if you have to continually change colors to get that shading and coloring of her dress correct, it can take a while. And I think there's 3 colors of red. And then in the white sections of the flag, there's a couple of different colors to get that shading. So there can be a lot of color changes. So, oh, I did notice too that this, just in case anyone was wondering, the flagpole is this, I don't know if you can see it, but this dark gray that goes diagonal all the way down. I used the wrong gray. I'm not ripping it out. I'm just going to pick the beads that go along with it and go to town. I'm not ripping it out. The flagpole is complete from her elbow down. There's a little section that's above her arm as well that goes to like her shoulder or above her shoulder. So I'm not ripping it out because I have the bulk of that flagpole in. So that's what I've stitched on, really. I mean, I put a lot of stitches into Sweet to the Soul. A lot of time went into that this last 2 weeks. And I had 512 stitches left to put in Lady of the Flag, because I think I worked on some of those the previous weekend or 2 weekends ago, something like that. So I did a lot of work on that too. I'm really excited that I'm getting to her arms. So there's not a lot. I mean, there's a bit, but there's obviously the bulk of the pattern is underneath of her arms. So as you can see, her arms are here, right? So there's the rest of the flag, her head and arms, and the torch. But I'm already working, I've already got this part of the dress done. I have to finish this part and this part. But I mean, there's not a ton of stitching up here. And then I just have to come down and finish the bottom of her dress and then the part where it says Liberty. So I'm not going to say that it's going to be finished by the end of this year, but I think we're only 2 months in and I've gotten so much progress already. I think it's going to be super close, if not done. And then the beading, of course. So, okay, so next are plans for March. So we're going to talk about WIPGO draws and then the WIP pile, okay? So the first project that got drawn is, let's see, I put it in a protective sleeve, so I have to take that out. Just 1 second. This is a paper pattern. Prairie Schooler Acorns, oops, which I'm super excited about this because I saw this and fell in love with it, and I really like the idea of putting them in the acorn shapes. I am using 28 count, and I believe they used 32 count, so mine are going to be slightly bigger, but I think I can enlarge these patterns enough where, I mean, I can probably freehand it, you know, because I can freehand it. So that now the problem is trying to choose which one to stitch. I like them all, and I'm going to stitch them all, but which one to start on? And I might have to put 1 through 6 on a decision wheel and do a spin. So I am using all of the called for DMC because Prairie Schooler used DMC. So this is the color palette. This is all of the colors. They're not on a ring yet, so they're not laying. You might not be able to see them all. But I have the colors. And then the problem was, I don't know if I talked to you all about this before. I went to my local Nita workshop and I said, okay, well, and I know that these are a little bit old because this is book 65. She had over 200. I don't see a copyright date on here, but she used 32 count Prairie grain linen. And she says, you don't want to use Prairie grain linen. And so I pulled up the picture from the internet because I didn't have this with me. And you can see what color this is. Prairie green is green. Prairie grain, sorry, grain. It is like a green color. And I'm like, that's not right. She goes, no, you don't want to use that. So we don't know if there is a typo in the pattern or if the colors changed from when she first stitched it till now. But she said, you don't want to stitch on that. So I said, well, I've got some 28 count Monaco at home, and I don't know what color this started off as, but I said, maybe because she said, maybe you want to use like tea dyed. So I said, let me go home and dunk some in some tea and see what happens. So I dunked 6 pieces in tea. Some of them are a little darker than others. So what I'm going to do is find the darkest one, because there's one with, trying to find it, people. Oh, here it is. There's people, and see there's white in her dress. So I just thought that maybe that one should be on the darkest one, and the others it doesn't matter because there's only one other one that uses white, and that's just for the door frame on the house. So overall, I don't think that it matters, but I did tea dye, just tea dye. This one is the lightest one, I think. So, I mean, I could do another round of tea dye, but I think this is really close. And I don't know if this is going to come through on the camera, but I think it's really close to what is actually in the model. And let's see, what color of white is this? You know what? It's not even white, it's ecru, and that might be the problem. So I might have to switch colors and just make it a white. We'll see when we get there. I'm not that concerned about it. So I have all 6 squares cut for acorns. Okay, let's set this aside. The second one is a digital pattern. Oops, sorry, my glasses are falling down. And I'll put a picture here. And it's called Pumpkin Patch by Stitching with the Housewives. And this one actually came with a bonus chart. So there's 2 to choose from. So I have both of my pieces cut. And this is 28 count black Monaco. And I did not have all of the called for floss. When the numbers got drawn yesterday, I'm like, oh shoot, I don't have any floss pulled. So I did find 3, $5.97, $8.41, and $38.65. This is in my bag, that were called for. And then the other 2, I got these in bags. When I first pull my floss, I just throw the little baggies in there and then I take care of them later. And they're really hard to open. The other 2 were a green and an orange, and I just kind of pulled some that I thought looked good with the $8.41 and the $5.97. So 3853 is my orange, and this was actually my second choice. I picked a different one that was a bit darker. It's a darker, richer orange, but it was also brighter at the same time. And then I picked 937, and I just thought that they worked well together, but then they also worked well with these two. And obviously everything works well with 3865. So this is my color palette for this. What I did think was interesting though, and when I told my husband and my daughter about it, you see, I don't really think that they want to have conversations about this stuff, so they weren't as perplexed as I was. But maybe you guys will be perplexed and scratch your chin and be, I wonder what happened there. So on the main chart, the one that you're actually buying called Pumpkin Patch, they used Classic Colorworks Caramel and they converted it to 841 DMC. On the bonus chart, they also used Caramel, but they converted it to DMC 434. And I'm like, but it's the same thing. I'm like, I don't understand. But I didn't have 434. I have the 841, and I think it looks great with the other colors. So I'm going to go with that. Also, though, with this one, I have to choose which chart I'm going to stitch. Am I going to stitch Pumpkin Patch, or am I going to stitch the bonus chart, which I don't know if the bonus chart has a name. And I have to choose. The bonus chart, I think I could probably get done, like obviously both of them have 500 plus stitches, but I think I could actually finish the bonus chart rather quickly. So I might do that just so that way I could have another finish. I'm not sure. I will see when I get there. I don't know what I'm going to do. So this is Stitching with the Housewives. This is my second pull for WIPGO. Now, in regards to my WIP pile, I have down on my plans that I'm going to stitch the Starry Night ornaments. I have 1.5 left. I am being a child and trying to procrastinate around them because I don't want to work with the metallic Kreinik. And I think I just need to pull up my big girl pants and get to work on it, just so that way I could be done. I would really love to get them finished before Christmas so they can hang on the tree. And I've waited well over a year for the Kreinik to come in, so I just need to do it. And then also, again, I need to pull up my big girl pants and get the back stitching done on the Weimaraner dog chart, which I don't have up here. But I don't think it's going to take me very many, maybe 2-3 hours to get that back stitching done, and that's it. Because you don't back stitch every, it's more long stitches really than back stitching. And I've already got a decent portion of it done. I just need to do it. So I need to do that, and then maybe I can get back to something fun like the Winter Tranquility, or finishing an acorn, or finishing a chart from Stitching with the Housewives that I'm starting. But I really need to buckle down. So if you're keeping track along with me here, I have 5 finishes for the year already. February's not quite over. I possibly could get Weimaraner done by the end of the month because there's 2 days left. 2 days and then this afternoon, really, because today is the 26th of February. So I possibly could have 6 finishes for the year already, and that would be about 3 per month. Those are my, kind of small ones. And then the Nativity, the Starry Night Nativity is also a small project to finish. It won't take much. But going forward, all of my projects that I have, my WIPs, are a bit more work. So I think my finishes will probably slow down unless I go back and forth, like work on Winter Tranquility. Since I'm like 37% done with that, I could be 40% done by the end of the night. It only takes 75 stitches to get a percent. So it's not that much. If I bounce back and forth between the smalls that I started this year, then I could still get some finishes, but that's not really helping me with the WIP pile. So I don't really know beyond Weimaraner and the Starry Night ornaments what I'm going to exactly do. it will be fun to see what happens and how it plays out. I was kind of itching to start a blanket. If my phone will cooperate with me, I'll add one more picture in, and it will be the picture of the blanket. I bought the yarn last year at the Tawas Bay Yarn Company. She's a lovely lady, and her shop is really cool. There's yarn everywhere, but it's kind of organized. It's organized by yarn maker, but then she's got a whole section of machine washable yarn. So like there's one section, one side of the shop that is, you know, hand wash yarn, and then the one side of the shop is machine washable. And I think that's really helpful, because then you know, you can shop from either side depending on what you know you want to do. You know, like a blanket, like blankets should be machine washable, you know. So in my opinion, you do whatever you want there. So I was kind of itching to start that. So if I do that, I won't get a lot of cross stitching done, but I would knock off another one of my to-dos on my knitting, because I have a lot. I have 4 sweaters of my own. I have a couple sweaters from my daughter that are lining up nicely. I have the blanket. I mean, I have tons of yarn that was purchased for a clear purpose, and I would like to start knocking those items out too. I really would like to finish my crochet temperature blanket from 2019. I'm not quite 50% done with that one, but I would really like to finish it. I put so much work into it already. I think it would be silly for me to give up on it now. And then really I was thinking that after I get that 2019 blanket done, that I would use the leftover yarn, because I believe that there will be some, because I'm using maybe next, it's buried in a couple of different bags around here because it's a lot. The yarn I chose, I think there's 13 colors, and it's all cone yarn, like DK cone yarn. Maybe, well, between fingering and DK weight, you know, depending, but it's all on cone, so there's tons of it. And I'm holding it double to make it a little bit thicker, but I'm only making like these little tiny diamonds with them, diamond shapes. So there's going to be a lot of yarn left over, and I think I could do another temperature blanket with them, but do it in a different manner, like single crochets or something, like, you know, in a, maybe this wide, because I'm not a very big person, and to make a lap blanket, I mean, you would want it to be proportional. I would have to test it out and see how tall my stitches were, and then to kind of figure out what that would be proportion wise, you know, how wide I would have to go to make it, you know what I'm talking about, right? So it doesn't look too weird, too skinny for the length that it would end up being, because you're going to have 365. Well, next year a leap year? You would end up with 366 rows. And then if you wanted to put on a border. Anyway, I feel like I'm kind of babbling about random projects that I would want to start. So I think this is a good spot to say goodbye until next time. It'll be about 2 weeks, and we will see what kind of progress I have on Lady of the Flag, Acorns, and Pumpkin Patch, and if I start a knitting project, which I very well might. I might do that. I don't think it would take a long time for me to finish that blanket, so I should just do it. Okay, anyways, I hope that you saw something to inspire you today to either pick up a languishing WIP or maybe to try something new. If you have any questions about anything that you've seen here, most of the information will be in the description box, but if you have questions beyond that, feel free to comment or to email me. That will also be below in the box. And until next time, bye.